Continuing with the Reddit AMA thread, we have one in from, is it AL Suicide or AI Suicide? Probably AI Suicide, who writes, have you ever worked on a story where your research caused you to have concern for your safety or the safety of others? If so, what precautions did you take to minimize possible dangers? Thank you for the question. Actually, I mean, this is a question that goes back to when I started the website and I started doing this research, and I was doing all of these things for the first time. And I remember specifically, I made a video on the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and it was about Ahmad Salem and the informant that the FBI was working that was on the inside of the case before he got taken off and all of that, and the fake bomb that they were going to make and blah, blah, blah. And so I was talking about that story, and at a certain point, when I was posting it to YouTube, I had to have a title for this, and the title that occurred to me was WTC 1993 was an FBI job, was the title, because that was essentially the argument. And I remember that was the first time I was uploading something like that to YouTube with a title like that, where I knew at some point, some agency, some alphabet soup is going to see something like that, right? And my name's going to be on some kind of list, as they always say. And there was a moment where I had to think about this. So this is what I'm doing, right? Like, I'm not going to change the title of this in order to make it less about what this video is about. This is what it is. I've got to call an orange an orange, call an egg an egg. This is what it is. So I had to commit myself to, okay, yes, I really mean to say this, and this is what I'm saying. And yeah, it probably means I'm going to get on some list somewhere someday. Publish. And so I had to make that mental commitment. And another time when that happened was when I did the Bohemian Grove call. People might remember I called up Barry Cooper from the University of Calgary, my old stomping grounds, who was on one of the leaked Bohemian Grove member lists, and I called him up and we talked for 2 seconds about one of his editorials in the Calgary Herald or something, and then I'm like, oh, by the way, how about the Bohemian Grove? Did you go this year? I remember when I did that. I remember, again, that was a mental commitment I had to make. Like, okay, well, here's someone in one of these secret societies I'm talking about, and I'm actually talking to them. I mean, again, putting myself in front of these people and making sure that I'll be noticed. Do I want to do this? And what's the consequences of this? And again, I had to make the mental commitment to go through with it. So I had a lot of those kind of moments in the early months and years of the website where I was doing everything for the first time. Progress along far enough, and now several years, a decade into doing this, those firsts aren't happening so much anymore. It's not a question of doing it for the first time, it's doing it for the 800th time. So to a certain extent, it's just committing yourself to, okay, I'm going down this path, I'm exposing this information. So, I've already committed myself many, 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 many times in the past to doing it. I'm not sure this next step is going to be the final step. And if it is, then I've already committed myself to this path. So for myself in this process, I think I'm already far enough along that worrying at every step about my safety is just, it can't be the primary concern for me anymore. And it isn't. I mean, it's not something I consciously think about very often. I do appreciate the gravity of the information that I'm attempting to convey here. I don't take myself seriously, but I take the information extremely seriously. And the Requiem for the Suicided series that I see a few people have mentioned in the Reddit AMA thread here is clearly an example of the gravity, the seriousness of the situation. There is information out there that absolutely will get you killed if you don't handle it in the right way, and if you're not, if you're not thinking straight. Hey, I've got some secret information, but I'm going to hide it, and I'll only reveal it maybe later and then they end up dead. Suicide, of course. So, I mean, there are smarter and less smart ways of handling this type of information, but at any rate, it is serious information, and there is information out there that can and will get you killed. I don't think, generally speaking, the information that I'm dealing with is that kind of information. The secret, I have the secret goods on this person that no one else knows that will get them thrown in jail or whatever. I'm not generally dealing with that information. I'm dealing with it's an open source investigation, as I say. So I'm generally dealing with stuff that's already out there, and I'm just collating and collecting it. So I'm not sure that the work that I do, I'm not the gumshoe investigative journalist who's on the ground digging up, bones in people's closets directly on the ground like that. So I'm not sure that the kind of work I do puts me in that form of danger. And to answer the question, I've never had a serious threat or whatever. I've had trolls and silly things from people, but I've never had a serious threat from some shadowy, spooky agent or whatever. So anyway, I've committed myself to this so many times in the past that I know what path I'm on, and there's no going back from it at this point. So I don't think about it. I do take precautions in the sense, as I said before. I mean, if I do have some breaking bombshell information, I'm not going to keep it and sort of like, oh, hey guys, I've got something really important about this person, but I'm not going to say it yet, or things like that. I mean, there's basic precautions that can be taken. But otherwise, other than that, no, it's not something that I consciously think about or steer myself this way or that thinking about. I'm just laying out the research as I'm finding it.